Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Contessa Alapag, an aesthetic practitioner from the Philippines. I'll be talking about the use of PTO threads for the correction of dark circles under the eye area. The eyes are powerful vehicles for nonverbal communication. They can speak our emotions or feelings. They can tell people when we are unhappy, tired, exhausted, or lacking in energy or vigor. Dark circles around the eyes is just one of the aesthetic complaints coming into our clinics. They feel they lack aesthetic appeal and it affects their self-esteem or self-confidence, making them feeling embarrassed and affecting their social life. In Asia, we see a number of these dark circles or dark pigmentations under the eye area, or also hollowness under the eye region. This is a picture of my 9-year-old son. Even the young ones can start to manifest dark circles. This is an illustration of a tear trough deformity and palpebromalar groove showing the dark shadowing under the eye region. As to the causes of dark circles, heredity or genetics play a role, the aging process, the skin and subcutaneous or fat atrophy, the bone resorption, dehydration, lifestyle like stress, fatigue, eye strain, lack of sleep, diet or some vitamin deficiencies, UV or sun exposure, history of allergies, urticaria or ocular rosacea. Anatomical etiology would include the poor bony support or the aging bony remodeling, the loss of deep CICAT support or the loss of the suborbicularis oculi fat support, laxity of the orbicularis oculi muscle, as well as the skin laxity and attenuation of the orbital retaining ligament and tear trough ligament. In assessing the infraorbital region, we have these physical maneuvers to evaluate the skin or tissue laxity or integrity. These are types of infraorbital deformity, like the B is the tear trough deformity, C, the nasojugal groove. D is the appearance of tear trough deformity due to contraction of the orbicularis oculi muscle, while E is tear trough deformity due to the infraorbital fat herniation, and F is the appearance of this infraorbital hollowness due to bone resorption with soft tissue atrophy. Here's an illustration of the anatomy in the infraorbital region. Below the skin and subcutaneous layer is the orbicularis oculi muscle. Beneath that is an orbital septum, and below the septum is the orbital or postseptal fat pad. So here's another illustration of the anatomy below the eye region. So we have here the orbicularis oculi muscle with the palpebral portion and the orbital portion, and beneath that is the orbital septum and the orbital fat. The floor of this palpebral portion is the orbital retaining ligament. A sagittal view of the soft tissue layers in the infraorbital region. So the skin and subcutaneous layer, and then the orbicularis oculi muscle, the orbital septum, and the orbital fat. And the floor of this region is the so-called orbitomalar ligament. Here's another illustration of the anatomy in the infraorbital area, showing us these true ligaments, the tear trough ligament and the orbital retaining ligament, and beneath those structures are already those malar soft tissue layers. For thread injections on the face, the safe anatomical layer where to insert your absorbable suture threads will be the subdermis or superficial fatty layer. In cases of skin tightening, firming, and collagen boosting, that will be the safest anatomical plane. For some cases of cog thread lifting, SMAS layer is also used for pulling or lifting saggy or heavy tissues. So again, the correct anatomical plane to insert our PDO absorbable suture threads will be the subcutaneous or subdermal layer or supraspinatus layer. Thread lifting procedures are common nowadays due to these effects of lifting, contouring, volumizing, as well as collagen production. This is the chemical structure and the chemical reaction of the polydioxanone or the formation of polymers of dioxanone. The PDO threads are inserted in the superficial fatty layer and then pulling out the needle, leaving the thread behind, and this will lead to the stimulation of collagen formation and other regenerative effects. This is the mechanism of action of the PDO suture threads. So the collagenesis can improve the skin elasticity as well as neovascularization, improving blood circulation. So the formation of new protein tissue fibers or new alpha triple helical structures in the skin tissue matrix will help in the overall regeneration and rejuvenation of the skin. So again, the effect of this bioabsorbable thread insertion is via the so-called wound healing process or a foreign body reaction leading to fibroblast activation and angiogenesis, hence resulting to the tightening, brightening of the skin as well as the improvement in the volume and also lifting of the skin. Now, this is the classification of PDO threads. So they're either barbed or non-barbed. With the non-barbed, we have the monofilaments or monoscrew threads, and the braided types are your scaffold or your tornado or twisted threads. With our barbed PDO threads or the so-called cog threads, we have the either cutting or molding type, and then as to the direction of the barb or the cog, it could be unidirectional, bidirectional, or multidirectional cog threads. And another classification is it's either unilateral or bilateral or spiral, meaning to say it's rotating or twisting around the cannula. These are features of the PDO threads. So we have the non-barbed type of PDO threads, which are your smooth, plain, or screw or spiral types. They stimulate collagen formation for improvement of the skin quality and for skin support. The barbed type of the suture threads, either unidirectional or bidirectional or multi-directional barbs or cog, they act to grasp or lift or suspend saggy tissues. And the third one are cone suture threads. They act like baskets and they allow the subcutaneous tissues to be anchored inside the cone. These are types of suture threads used for lifting and skin regeneration or rejuvenation. So our polydioxanone, they're hydrolyzed in 6 to 8 months, while the PLLA or polyl-lactic acid and the PCL or polycaprolactone, they last longer than our polydioxanone threads. This is a histology picture showing the collagen synthesis around the polydioxanone threads. So after a month of insertion, inflammatory cells near the inserted site are observed. So after 3 months, dense collagenous fibrosis is formed. Another histology slide showing collagen deposits around this type of thread, which is polycaprolactone or PCL. Another effect is the formation of new capillaries in the tissue matrix. So this is the so-called neovascularization effect. There's also this fibrous bridging effect, whereby collagen bridge is formed by connecting pre-existing fibrous tissue to newly collagen or newly formed collagen. Benefits of these suture threads is that they're minimally invasive, less to no scars, You can use local anesthesia. It's safe and there's short procedure time as well as minimal to no downtime, a fast recovery time, and it's an easy operation technique, and it gives a natural post-op result. In doing our periorbital or infraorbital rejuvenation, there are other non-surgical treatment modalities that we can use. We have our energy-based devices like HIFU or Ultera, the RF or Thermage or RF microneedling. We can also use laser resurfacing like the CO2 fractional laser or thulium fractional laser to rejuvenate or lighten or brighten the skin under the eye. The dermal fillers have been used in treating also dark circles, and this one will fill in particularly hollow areas, stretching the skin, giving that brightened or lightened effect. And now we add the absorbable suture threads like our polydioxanone or even the PCL or PLLA. And also toxins are being injected to relax orbicularis oculi muscles in cases of hyperkinetic or hyperactive orbicularis oculi muscle. And the topical creams like your brightening or lightening serums for the under eye using some micronutrients like vitamin K or vitamin C, niacin, and other skin lightening creams or topical ointments. For the step-by-step procedure, first, we have to determine the treatment area on the face, do an aesthetic assessment, and take pre-op photos. And then, identify the entry point for that treatment area and make your surface landmarks. Like for example, here, we're treating the infraorbital region. Apply topical anesthetic cream before the procedure to numb the area, and follow the asepsis or antisepsis rule before doing any non-surgical or minimally invasive procedures on the face. Then inject the lidocaine into the entry point and also into the treatment area or the path where the threads will be inserted. Puncture the entry point with a sharp needle, insert cannula with the threads, and then cannula bevel should be down. Insertion plane should be subdermal or superficial fatty layer. Follow the paths on the surface land markings. Pull out cannula leaving the threads inside the tissue layer. Press over entry point for hemostasis. Make sure thread does not come out from the skin. Cut off any remaining part of the thread to make sure that this puncture wound will close well. And then check for balance or symmetry and give your post-op care and advise follow-up. So the recommended insertion of revitalizing threads. First, locate the entry points, which would be your inferolateral orbital rim. The injection plane or level is the subdermal or subcutaneous plane. Now, product that you can use here are your PDO threads. Length could vary. It could be 40 or 50 millimeters length. In some cases, I even use 30 millimeter length if it's just correction of the palpebromalar groove. So for this technique, we use horizontal linear parallel insertion from the entry point at the inferior portion of the lateral canthus towards the medial inferior orbital rim or third trough region. So we can use here sharp needles depending on the size of the cannula where your threads are. You use the needle to puncture the entry point, and your local anesthesia is lidocaine epinephrine. And for the recommended number of threads, we use either 3 to 5 PDO threads per side. For our first case, we have a 48-year-old female who presents with sunken dark under eye, noted third trough deformity, lacking volume and radiance, with poor skin texture, fine lines or wrinkles under the eye, as well as sagginess. The treatment goal is to restore the volume, the radiance, correct the third trough deformity, improve lid-cheek junction, tighten and lift the skin, as well as improve quality of the skin and lighten or brighten the skin. This is the actual procedure that we had done on her. First, locate the entry points for the improvement of the dark hollow under eye, and then puncture those entry points with your sharp needle. Like in this case, this is like a 23 gauge needle. So puncture on this lateral border of the orbital rim below the lateral aspect of the lateral canthus, and it's just above the zygomatic region. And then insert your PDO threads through those entry points and pushing the thread cannula toward the medial inferior orbital rim, staying within the subdermal plane in a horizontal linear parallel approach. You make about 3 to 5 parallel lines with 5 or 10 millimeters distance between those inserted threads. So again, puncture point and then insert your PDO thread, and making sure that you have all threads inserted. The entire length cannula should be pushed all the way through the subdermis. Treatment outcome of this first case. So she had an improvement of the infraorbital region, very noticeable reduction in the hollowness and the darkening under the eye for a better aesthetic under eye. A second case, a male patient in his 30s. He presented with sunken dark under eye, also noted teardrop deformity, lacking volume and radiance with poor skin texture. Again, treatment goal to restore that volume and radiance, correct the teardrop deformity, improve the lid-cheek junction, tighten and lift the skin, improve quality of the skin, and lighten or brighten.
So we'll now show you the actual procedure for the under eye PDO threads. Okay, numbing cream, then we left it for about half an hour to 45 minutes. And then in doing our PDO threads, we have to create our entry points. So we make the 5 entry points on the laterals, this side here. So actually, so the lateral canthus, like about a cm, 2.5 cm below that. Initially, 2 markings, and posterior to that, another 3 markings. As easy as that. Okay, and then we have to again numb the area, the entry point. So the numbing will be injection of our lidocaine. So just a little bit of this. So usually we just inject on the entry points. So it's 2, and then 3rd, and then the 4th, and then the 5th. We can now make our 5 entry points. So we're gonna make an entry point here. Okay, first one here, second one, and then a 3rd one, 4th one, and a 5th one. So I'll be using my Super Tornado 50mm by 55mm thread. Okay, so make your first insertion here, and then the anatomical plane, as we always have lectured, we have 5 layers, right, Dr.? Yes. So normally we do it in the layer between layer 4 and 5, just like when we discuss on the anatomical layers of the face. And then a second one. So we're just leaving those PDO threads. Okay, the others put it in the subdermal layer. And a 3rd one. So I can combine it with another PDO thread with a gauge 30 and a 25mm length. So this one is Super Tornado 50 by 55mm. Okay, so just pressure. Strong pa ang tissues ni Dean. So meron pang tightness and firmness. Just few days ago lang we did Botulax injection, and you didn't even have any bruise. So this is a gauge 25mm. So we'll do a combination. So the goal of this one is to tighten and firm the skin, and also induce so-called neocollagenesis, because this has a rejuvenating effect. I'm just being very gentle po. Okay. I'm gonna use 5 of this. So this is my 4th, like food or stretch or parang ganun lang ang feed. Super little. And then we're done on the...
That's the last one, Doc.
Yes. We're gonna proceed to the other side. So we're proceeding to the left side, and again we have to inject lidocaine. So I have 5 entry points here, and then after that we'll make our puncture points. Okay, so our first Super Tornado here, too much, yeah. So we wanted to prevent any bruising. Okay. So this is my second one. This one you have to avoid placing the threads superficially, because if you had inserted it in a superficial plane, some of the threads can be
Seen on the superficial.
Yes. They will be visible. Especially these threads have a certain color. Actually, it's a 30 gauge, 25mm length, and Dean is just relaxed. And we're done with our PDO threads for sunken under eye or dark eye circles.
And here's the treatment outcome for that video demonstration. So the before photo, and then after a month we took his photo, and there's a noticeable improvement in the under eye region, a decrease in the darkening or the pigmentation under that eye area. So this is an oblique view showing an improvement in the infraorbital region. Skin got rejuvenated and there's volume restoration and there's more radiance into the skin, and patient was so happy with the treatment outcome. So I have more video demonstrations of actual procedures that I have done on my patients. But this one is particularly concerned with the infraorbital wrinkling and sagginess, and also there's some degree of hollowness in the tear trough region as well as the palpebromalar groove. In addition to that, I have another technique, the so-called inch thread injections into the inferior orbital rim to restore support and tissue strength in that area, particularly those with concerns of weak or lax retaining ligament already, to give support in that region. So these are PDO inch threads, particularly using a gauge 13 needle with a 10 millimeter length of the needle, and our thread was around 20 to 25 millimeter length. So that's the PDO threads under the eye in a perpendicular insertion. So these are more results from those additional video demonstrations. So there were improvement in the skin and the tissue below the eye area. In conclusion, so these dark hollow under eye problems can be treated by non-surgical minimally invasive procedures, not only the hyaluronic dermal filler or our aesthetic energy devices. We can also use our PDO threads. These types of suture threads can be used for skin regeneration, volume restoration, collagen stimulation, skin tightening, firming, as well as the brightening or lightening effect of the skin. And combination treatment could be the best approach in some cases, like the recent cases that I have shown you. And then proper patient selection as well as correct treatment approach will be important in achieving an optimal, long-lasting, natural results with minimal tissue trauma as well as rapid recovery. And we have to master the anatomy, develop the skills in doing such thread insertion. So again, know your anatomy, know the product you're using, know your patient, their desires, as well as know yourself and your limitations. I leave you with 5-letter P's: the product, knowledge of it, and also your patient, getting to know your patient and their desires. Now yourself, the doctor, your capabilities and your limitations, and also master the techniques, the skills, the procedure, and learn how to avoid complications or problems, and also how to manage those complications if they occur. So I leave you with this quote: I love looking into those beautiful eyes of yours. Thank you very much, Dr. Contessa Alapag, your certified aesthetic physician from the Philippines. God bless you all.